This was my first impression of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Hello. I actually am crying. I just booted it up on my PC. I have the game. Oh my god. It's stunning. Screw all those non-believers. You suck. Look, see? The game exists, goddammit.
Yeah, I might have cried. It's fine. I've been waiting for this game since the original release. This whole channel has been built around talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance and its upcoming sequel. But now, only less than a month away from release, I got given the opportunity to play Kingdom Come 2 in my own time and give you my first impressions of this massive open world RPG. There are going to be positives, there are going to be negatives. Even though this video is sponsored by PlayOn, I'm going to be as honest with you as possible, because Kingdom Come Deliverance means a lot to me. But without further ado, hello our hero Henry.
Henry, the fellow who helps his fellow man. His fellow man! Henry, let's drink to Henry. He gets the job done the best he can.
Now I will preface this, the footage you're going to be seeing in the background is pre-release, so any bugs or weird things you see are most likely going to be fixed in the Day 1 patch. And I've been told that there is a Day 1 patch in the works right now.
Scheiße!
And actually, let's talk about bugs and my impressions of those so far. Guys, they did it. They did it, guys. There's no bugs. Well, there was one. I saw a cat hovering through the air. But apart from that, so from these first impressions, Warhorse Studios has done an absolutely fantastic job of getting this game up and ready for release. When you're working with a massive open world game with a ton of NPCs, things are bound to happen. And I'm not saying that my experience is going to be the same for everyone. But comparing this to how Kingdom Come Deliverance launched, and this is still in the preview stage, I think this is absolutely brilliant. So well done, Wars. So I have put 60 hours into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 across PS5 and PC. And when the review comes out, I will delve a bit more into performance. But what I will say right now, from everything that I've experienced so far, performance is fantastic. So if you're playing this on PC, all you should know is that this game is quite CPU heavy. And on PS5, the performance mode seems to look absolutely fantastic and runs at a solid 60. Now you've got to remember, this is before the Day 1 patch comes out. So things are only going to get better from here. So my initial impressions of performance are great.
Sir Hans Capon, Lord of Bergstein.
Okay, we need to talk about the worlds, because Kingdom Come Deliverance wouldn't be Kingdom Come without the map, right? There are 2 maps in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I can only talk about the first map, which is the Bohemian Paradise and Trotsky map. If this had been the only map in the game, I don't think I would have noticed. It's so densely packed with little things to find and details and characters and animals and all these other things. It reminds me of those first days of playing Kingdom Come Deliverance and venturing out into a forest and getting completely lost. And there was all this bird song and overgrowth and maybe a noise, a twig snaps in the distance, and you don't know what that is. You hear wolves howling, and you're thinking, are they real? Well, this time they are. Wolves are real, and they are terrifying, but it brings back those memories of wonder. And that's what I've experienced so far, is what's that way? What's over there? And that's what I play open world games for. It's the exploration, it's the wonder of it all. It's not quantity over quality, it's a balance. And I can't wait to dive in and experience it more. But a large map wouldn't be very good if there was nothing to do in it, and that leads us into activities. So if you've played Kingdom Come Deliverance before, you probably have a good idea of what we're going to be finding here. So far, I have found the best game ever made, Farkle, combat training, random encounters make a return, and there is a ton of different ones I've seen so far, but there's probably a ton more, so that's really cool. Alchemy, of course, and blacksmithing, which is brand new to Kingdom Come 2. Now, I'm going to get to blacksmithing later on in this video, so hold on for that. Seemingly everything from Kingdom Come Deliverance is returning here, so if you knew that game, then you're going to be very happy. But also there are some new things, and I'm not going to mention them. I want you to find them for yourself. But one of my favourite things to do is combat training.
Don't worry, I'll get him.
And that leads us nicely into combat. So if you've never played Kingdom Come Deliverance before, the combat system was unique. You use the analog stick to point in different directions, kind of like For Honor, and then you block and parry by aiming your sword at the same direction as theirs. Now, there were different things you could learn, like the parry ability and the Master Strike, and those do return here. There is one less pip now on the aiming reticule, and they have modified the buttons around quite a bit. For instance, RB, which used to be the jab button, no longer exists, but you're able to pull that off by pointing down and pushing forwards. So everything is still here, and I will say the combat definitely has more depth than it did in Kingdom Come Deliverance. One of the biggest upgrades I've seen so far is unarmed. I really like how you can grab someone by the legs, depending on your grapple position, and throw them onto the ground. It's kind of like wrestling, and it's really fun how it works. It reminds me of those UFC games where you had to kind of point in the right direction to get the grapple in the right angle, and then push forward to take them down. And it's very visceral and physical, and I like that so far. I think that's great. One thing I will say that I've noticed is that when you get through the prologue and start playing the game, Henry basically becomes inept again. He becomes inept Henry, and you do have to learn some things again. You do have the parry ability, but you do have to relearn the Master Strike, which has been upgraded significantly, but you will feel weak at the start of KCD 2. One massive thing that I'm really loving is the archery. Now, I was hopeless at the archery in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. If you don't know, they take away the little reticule, so you're basically aiming by pointing at the middle of your screen. So it can be quite cumbersome if you're not very good at distances or that kind of thing. And I always really struggled with archery. I don't know what they've done, but I'm able to hit my targets more than not. And I don't understand, because the reticule's still gone, but they seem to have made it so where your hand in the front of the bow seems to be pointing to where you're going to fire. And that has really helped. And it's made the bow and arrow gameplay fun for me, but it's still challenging to newcomers. And you do have to learn a ton of skills with it. So there is still that learning curve, but it's a lot more user-friendly than Kingdom Come 1. And that goes across the whole game. I think with Kingdom Come Deliverance, I found some quests, they would be like, oh, right, go and grab this, but not exactly give you the best description of where to find it, or they would dump you in the middle of a massive area and be like, search for this one tiny item. And they have really nailed not oversimplifying by telling you stand right here. They have made it so it just feels a bit more intuitive. So I found myself not struggling as much with some of those more kind of obscure missions. And there are definitely missions that I've played where they've thrown me in the deep end and I'm like, oh god. So there are still missions like that, but they're not as egregious as some in Kingdom Come Deliverance. And all in all, I would say that this game doesn't like to waste your time. And I really appreciate that. There's, for instance, a feature where you're riding a horse if you're following someone, you can just press a button and then the horse will just follow behind. Or even if they're walking you somewhere, you can press a button and you'll just kind of auto walk, which is really quite nice. It's a nice thing to have, and I found myself using it quite a lot, but it's completely optional. One thing that definitely isn't easier is lockpicking, and for those that know, lockpicking in Kingdom Come 1 was a nightmare on controller on launch, and they made it a little bit better by using the simplified scheme, which now carries over to KCD2. That is the default now. I will say I was struggling super hard with it when I started playing KCD2, but with some practice it's got easier, and now I'm able to do very hard locks. But I have used the crossbow. I found it harder to aim than the bow and arrow, which was a bit surprising, but it definitely is good. It's just not my cup of tea. I prefer the bow now. I've kind of ruined myself by getting quite good at it. So, yeah, I will definitely be digging into the crossbow and then later on the gun, or the pistol, which looks really fun. Stealth is another thing that I want to talk about here, because this is something that was heavily upgraded, seemingly, from Kingdom Come 1. Kingdom Come Deliverance's stealth system was hit or miss, to say the least. It was doable, but it never felt consistent, in my opinion. There was always some oddity to it. But what they have done here is they've made it like Thief or Splinter Cell, where darkness definitely plays a factor, and you have to, of course, make yourself less noisy, less conspicuous, that kind of thing, very similar to KCD1, but it really feels like it makes a massive difference. Doors play a key part here, so if you're wanting to sneak around houses, make sure to remember what was closed and what wasn't, because if there's guards in a building, they will notice, and they'll be like, hang on a minute, I didn't leave that door open, and they will go and close it. And I love that. I think that's really neat, but goddamn is it scary. And a really cool little thing that Warhorse themselves told us is the neat little feature with the photo mode, where if you take a photo in this game, when you exit the photo mode, Henry will say a verbal phrase. He will say, nice one, or interesting, or something like that. And that verbal outburst by Henry is audible in-game. So you cannot be using photo mode for stealth. They will hear you. And I love that. I think that is really neat. But this leads me on to my 2 negatives. Yes, all 2 of them. I travelled long and far to find 2 things that I dislike about this so far. It's also so I don't get sued by PlayOn. So let's finally talk about blacksmithing and the photo mode. First, blacksmithing. Blacksmithing is very cool. It's accurate to how you blacksmith, I presume, because I am not a blacksmith. I don't bloody know. But I will say it looks really nice, and it seems to be accurate in terms of what you have to do. You have to burn metal to the point where it's glowing hot, and then you hit it with a little hammer on the anvil, and that all seems to look quite nice. Until you get to small items like horseshoes, and then it just kind of, oh boy. So, how swords work is you put them on the anvil and you can move them back and forth with the hammer, and then you can go down it, bang, 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 right? All the way down. Not the case for horseshoes. Horseshoes, you have free bloody reign with that hammer, and it just doesn't work. Because you're lifting up the hammer above your head to hit the horseshoe, but you can't see where the hammer actually is in space, right? So you then come back down and you miss. So you have to then re-aim yourself and then hold it up and then hit. Okay, you hit it, but you can't hit that place 3 times, otherwise Henry will have a go at you. So it doesn't work with small items, and that definitely needs a patch or something. There's no reticle. There's nothing to tell you where the hammer is above your head. Yeah, that's a problem. And secondly, photo mode. So, I love photo mode in video games, it's great, and I'm really happy Kingdom Come 2 has a photo mode. The only problem is they didn't bloody put any features in it. There's nothing, all there is look up and down, turn left and right, and hide the HUD. If you're on PC, you can just use NVIDIA Ansel, but for console players, that's not an option. So you have a kind of a bubble around Henry, and you can move the camera around inside that bubble. That's great. The only problem is the analog stick or your keyboard is on like 100 million% sensitivity, so you're whizzing around all around the bubble, and it's very hard to actually get fine aim. There should be a little toggle for fine aim so you can do really nice slow pan shots, or a depth of field slider, FOV slider. I know there are people out there who love photography in video games. There's whole communities of people, and if they updated this in an update or a DLC, I don't mind. I just want more features. If this kind of feels like they were like, oh crap, we forgot a photo mode. Jim, throw it in. I don't know. Either way, I like the features. I just wish there was more to it. And that's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What's that? You wanted to hear what I thought of the story so far? No. Alright, fine. I will tell you what I'm thinking of the story so far. It's really good. It's great, and if you like Kingdom Come Deliverance, then you'll probably really love this. And the performances so far by the one, the only Tom McKay, and of course Luke Dale, and all the other casts have been great. And there are some moments for me that rival Father Godwin's quest, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I really like it so far, and I can't wait for you to experience it. But no, I'm not going to be telling you any more. I don't want to make the same mistake I made last time, where I accidentally told you that and then she died. Oh, I've done it again. I want to say a massive thank you to PlayOn for sponsoring this video. If you enjoyed this, then I will have my full review out on the 3rd of February, so make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below. Anyway, I love each and every single one of you, but until next time, that's me out. Bye, guys.